God, right, okay. This one is one of those ones where I'm pissed off. So, most of the time, I just fucking hate people, man. They piss me off all the time. Yeah. Because do you know what it was? I don't want to start saying this too loud because it's about the people in my house right now. But I did just have a massive shouting match with them. Cause, oh my God, do you never get pissed off? Are you just hearing two people communicate and they're both being so fucking shit and crap at just simply just saying things to each other? Like, my sister, we're trying to ask my mum what she's doing on Sunday. So she said, "Oh, we got any plans on Sunday?" And my mum said, "I don't really know. I've not finalised anything yet, but maybe." And then she was like, "Oh, just because someone asked me if I might want to," and then my mum went, yeah, she went, "What? What are we doing on Sunday?" And then my sister comes back like, "I'm just trying to tell you," and I just went, this happens all the time. Not just with them, but with everyone, but with them all the time as well. And I literally went, whoa, stop, because I'm so fed up. I just wanted to say, just stop a moment and use your brain before you slap stuff out your goddamn mouth, okay? I feel like that would sound really good in an Irish accent. Do you not think? Can you imagine Conor McGregor saying that? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not the best, but yeah, this is another one where I muted Judd at the start, but Judd said, do your impression of Conor McGregor saying, "Think with your brain before you spew shit out your goddamn mouth." Do that again, just so people get this.
I said, think with your brain before you slap words out of your whore mouth.
And now that you've done that, just double check your microphone's not too loud and that it's on the right one, because it sounds a bit weird.
And now would you like me to say the quote again?
Yeah, let's do it as another test. No, that's fine.
I'm good.
But I'm just like, oh my God, I'm just sick of this shit. But this is my problem. This is one of my many thousands of problems that are completely incurable, that constantly get on your ass every single day, right? As soon as you try and point something out about someone or something or anything, point something out that people don't like, they're not willing to listen first, decide whether that's true or not, and decide whether they want to do something about it or not. Immediately, people just get on the defensive and start fucking attacking you. Yeah. And it's like, oh, just fucking listen and think. It's not hard.
It really annoys me, that.
I don't know what I'm expecting, being as they didn't think before opening their fucking goddamn whore mouth or whatever. That was a bad accent, I'm sorry. But you know what I mean? It's just, I can't deal with people. And another problem with it is, I literally tried to introduce a system where we have a decent place about talking about things, like amicably, where the whole point is, at this point, at this place, at this time, we just have a chat about anything that we don't particularly like and we would like to kind of, change things. And the whole point is go into it with an open mind and don't start getting pissed off about stuff. Like, actually be objective and try and think about things. Yeah. And that stopped happening pretty quick, didn't it? So, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
In conclusion, people are terrible beings. Fuck them. We record this podcast live at twitch.tv/streamsbadly, so follow us there if you want to watch this live. You can see our ugly mugs. If you might already have seen them if you watch the video version on YouTube, which is the Streams Badly YouTube channel, but you could also be listening to the audio-only version on Spotify. I believe that's where most people get this podcast. That's fine. It's a great place to get it. No problem with that. It's on some other good streaming platforms as well. But what I will say is, because we record this live, sometimes you get some little hiccups, such as apparently I think we're dropping frames at the minute. I think it's calmed down, but I'm on a knife edge today. Can you tell, like, when I'm in my tone of voice, when, like, I'm about to snap at any moment?
I can tell.
I shut my window and I shut my blinds before we record this this podcast to optimize like how the lighting looks and how the sound is. And as soon as I went to shut my window, my neighbour started mowing the lawn, and I was like, "You've had all day to do this."
You ever been in a storm, Wally? Not a real storm, but a storm of fists.
Having said that, their dogs and my house's dog constantly bark the whole time. Again, because of shitty people who can't train their fucking dogs. I'm telling you, dogs, another complaint I've had for many times, I don't understand how they're so universally accepted as such a nice thing for every household to have. It's not a good... most households are not good for dogs. Come on. I'm talking about... never mind the fact that I don't like them. I'm talking about for the dogs. If you're into dogs, right, that should be quite a niche thing. You know how, like, people who are into horses and own a horse, they have to have a specific stable. Typically, they live in a more rural area where there's loads of fields and stuff like that, where they can take their horses around and stuff. That should be a very similar attitude to dogs. They're animals that need walking and exercising constantly. They're really supposed to have their minds stimulated all the time, not just plodding around the house all the time. That's some of my complaints. But speaking of complaints, I'm sorry to potentially spoil this for you, Judd. I went to see Doctor Strange last night.
I don't really care, so I'm not too bothered. Like,
I honestly, you know how you've skipped some of the Marvel movies since Avengers Endgame, right?
I didn't watch. I didn't watch, like, the 10 Rings or whatever the fuck it was called.
Shang-Chi, and you didn't watch Spider-Man Far From Home either, did you?
No, I did end up watching it. I did
eventually. Took you ages, though.
Yeah, I watched Far From Home, and then the newest one's No Way Home, innit? Yeah. I've watched all of them. I have watched all of them. I think that Far From Home is my favourite out of the three. I really, really like Mysterio.
Your microphone's loud.
Sorry. I really like Mysterio as a villain.
But it's... So, have you watched any of the streaming series? So you've seen Moon Knight. Did you watch Hawkeye?
I think Hawkeye was the one I didn't watch. I feel like I've watched all the others.
Hawkeye, it was all right. It's still a bit loud, Judd.
What the fuck?
But Hawkeye was all right. Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I watched that. I watched all of that.
I think I would have thought you'd like that, yeah. And I
didn't think it was like amazing or anything, but I did like it.
And then there was WandaVision, obviously.
Yeah, and I liked WandaVision.
Out of all of them, if you're going to skip one of them, I probably would say this is the one. This is the one. It's the sloppiest, worst written MCU movie there is. It's the only Marvel Cinematic Universe property, I'm including streaming shows and movies, that I don't like. I think it's worse than average. Now, we do ratings out of 100 on our movie tracking spreadsheet. I gave it 48. It's not bad. It's definitely not as bad as The Batman. And I didn't hate The Batman. I just thought it was a bit bad. And Doctor Strange is a little bit better than that. But the main problem is the story. And that's basically what any sort of entertainment is about. So if your story's not good, it can't be very high up. And the worst thing, Judd, this is without spoiling it, it's the way they handled Wanda. They completely, like, it was an offence to Wanda's character. It actively was just, it pissed me off. And the thing is, she's a huge part of the movie as well. A huge part of it. And because they messed her up so bad, that's why it negatively affected the movie so much. You know, all of the... What would you say was the entire kind of emotional journey, learning point of WandaVision?
It was her grief. It was getting over losing Vision. That was the whole thing.
Yeah,
and moving on
and trying to deal with the fact that, you know, she's might always struggle to have a family. It's not a nice thing to deal with, but she can't inflict pain on the world as a result of it, and she still needs to hold herself responsible because of how much power she has.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you why, but that's definitely all gone. As soon as the movie, within 15 minutes of the start of the movie, you will 100% get why. And even that, the fact that you realise that so quickly, again, I'm trying not to spoil it for anyone, especially for you, is just a bit crap. Like, you know, a lot of the build-up to that movie as well was, there's going to be so many, like, variations of different characters because they're going through so many different multiverses. We're going to see little glimpses of all these superheroes, like, kind of differently. Nope. That's not true. You don't. Not at all. I remember seeing on multiple occasions that this is going to have more superheroes than Avengers Endgame in it. No, definitely not. 100% bullshit. No, not even close. Have you seen much around it? Much of the adverts or like some of the memes or anything?
I saw the one advert and immediately had what I thought was a massive thing spoiled because of the first advert. Which I thought was a huge deal.
What was that then?
Well, okay, so spoilers, everybody, for listening. The fact that Professor X is in it.
Yeah, no, that's not a huge spoiler. It's because
I feel like that should be a huge deal, though.
It was just that Patrick Swayze. What's his last name? Patrick Engelbert. Well, I forgot his last name.
Stewart.
Patrick Stewart. That's the one. Patrick Stewart does portray Professor X at a point in this movie.
Yeah.
You know the guy from The Office who plays Jim?
Yes.
He
is
playing
Richard
Mr. Fantastic.
Yes.
The guy, the black woman who's Captain America's like best friend growing up and all that. In Captain Marvel, sorry. You know, she's called Monica Rambeau, I think. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. I know, yeah.
She is Captain Marvel in this universe, and you know the Marvel What If with Peggy Carter being Captain...
Captain England or
whatever it is. I can't remember what they called her. She's England. In that same universe as well, and Black Bolt as well. There's a bit, and there's some stuff that goes off in that universe, but they're not... That don't mean they're in the main universe or anything like that. And the reason I'm saying this is that's it. For the extent of extra heroes, you see. That's it. There's no seeing another Spider-Man, there's no, like, a different... Because there was even, like, people trying to say, Tom Cruise is going to cameo as, like, Tony Stark for, like, 3 frames or something like that. Or, you know, you'd see all sorts of, like, just really quick little bits of this that could be quite cool. None of that. Nope, none of that. Honestly, it felt like watching a cartoon. It felt like watching, like... Actually, this actually makes it sound better than it actually was. It felt like watching an episode of Shaolin Showdown. And although I like Shaolin Showdown, it was quite out of place. Like, it just felt very wrong. It doesn't suit Doctor Strange's character, that it felt so goofy at times. I don't know, man. It's the first MCU thing that I've seen that I would say is bad, but only just slightly.
What about What If? Marvel's What If?
Well, it's not part of the MCU, is it? It's just what if this had happened in the MCU. Okay. It's not connected, so that doesn't count. Right. It has to be literally connected to that universe. But it's disappointing. It was disappointing because you expect for at least like a 60 out of 100 from a Marvel movie. You expect it's always going to be at least a decent time. At least a decently good movie. And it just wasn't. It was just a bit disappointing and just a slight bit bad. There was some stuff to like about it, for sure. There was definitely some stuff to like about it. And if you are an MCU fan, still go and watch it. But if you're like an MCU fan that does skip the odd thing, skip this one. Skip this one.
Yeah, I don't know, because my you know how Nan loves like superhero stuff, like all the Marvel stuff and all that.
Yeah.
She really likes Wanda, and she really likes Doctor Strange as well. So I think
that's even less reason for you to watch it. Like, genuinely, I seriously think if she doesn't know that this movie's coming out, don't tell her, because it will.
She knows. She's been saying like, "Oh, do you want to go and see it?"
It absolutely ruins Wanda, so far as I'm concerned. It's such a shame.
Yeah.
On multiple levels, and when you've gone to see it, I'm guessing you'll probably end up going to see it. We should probably have a chat about it again at some point and compare what we thought of it. But that's that anyway. To be honest, though, that wasn't the most entertaining part about going to the cinema to watch that movie, because as I often do when I'm about to go watch a movie, I always try and do a big old whiz out the end of my knob first, which you always should do. So I went to the toilet, and
you should always pee out your cock.
You should,
and not other places.
Yeah, women, come on, get with it. Why ain't you peeing out of your cocks?
Come on, ladies, come on. They're there for a reason, fucking hell.
So I went to the toilet, and I walked in the toilet, and there was this guy. He looked like a bit younger than me. He looked easily over 18. Like maybe about 20, 21. And he were like psyching himself up. He were like, you might like bounce on your toes a bit and like shake your hands or something before you went. He were like doing that in the mirror, and like he knew I was in there. It's a very small toilet, and like he fully knew, but he just carried on. And he were like, wiping sweat off his brow, checking his hair, bouncing, psyching himself up. He like splashed some water on his face, and I was thinking,
oh shit.
The fuck is this guy about to do? Holy shit!
That would be your first thing. You're about to go into that dark movie theater, and this guy's potentially just like that. Come on!
He was doing it for ages. I needed a wee, so like I was there, a little bit, and he was still there when I started washing my hands. I don't know what it was about to do.
I'd just put my hand on his chest and go, "Listen, buddy, sorry. You legally you have to tell me if you're about to go in and shoot up this theater. Now legally you have to tell me that.
I don't mind, but just please tell me so I can leave, okay? Yeah. So no, I think I'd have noticed when he was bouncing up and down and a gun fell out of his pocket or something.
You'd be doing me a solid by telling me. I'd be doing you a solid by not telling anybody else. So just come on, just
let's.
I'll just leave. I'll not even try to stop you. I'll just leave.
Oh God. But yeah, just as I was about to wash my hands, he then left. So I was thinking as I was using the toilet, should I do something here? He's obviously getting excited to do something. I don't mean as in trying to say, are you about to shoot us? No, as in, I thought about going to the sink and looking at him and going, you got this, buddy, or something like that. I don't know, to make him feel less nervous or something like that.
But then what would you have done? Would have gone, thanks, man, and pulled the pistol out of his pocket and
then John Tilly went over to the cinema, and I was like, this was
wasn't me. Podcast badly told me to do.
Then we get sued. We get sued for the whole thing. Oh my God. Oh no, but it doesn't stop there, because I went into the cinema and sat down. We got our seats. Mildly annoyed that I forgot my glasses, but when we were in the cinema, the lights kept flickering, and I was thinking, oh, what? And then I swear there was a very small rumble at one point. And I was thinking, I'd already told my girlfriend at this point what happened in the toilets, and she was like, oh shit, is it that guy? So I genuinely looked around for the guy. Is he in this cinema? He wasn't there. So I felt a little bit relieved. But I was like, what the fuck?
Is it the guy? There's a distant earth shaking, rumbling fuck, it's the guy who's getting hyped up.
It could have been.
He's outside having a Dragon Ball-esque fight with fucking Vegeta. He's knocking buildings over and shit.
Who knows? I don't know. It could have been. Anyway. Oh my goodness gracious. What you been up to then, Judd? You got any freaks or anything like that?
No, I kind of had a bit of a subject, a question I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, all right.
And it's the idea of
seeing to have a really big wart on the end of your penis. Is it normal to feel attracted to wolves? Stuff. Is it normal? No, is it one of those?
No. It's have you ever arrived to the aftermath of something? And you've just thought, what the fuck were what's led up to this aftermath? because I've been thinking about this recently, and there was that one obviously I told you about in the Freak of the Week episode where it was the shorts that they were just like caked in shit and the the shit trail and stuff. Yeah. Another one was I was driving along and in the middle of the road there was like a screwdriver left, and then 2 separate license plates. Like the front and the back of a license plate that had been like taken off in the middle of the road.
That's a stolen car then.
It was like a 60. It was such a weird place for it as well, though, because it wasn't like on like a street somewhere or something. It was like on a busy road where you go 60 miles an hour. So it's like the guys. It's like they sped down on this road at 60 miles per hour, got out in the middle of it, quickly taken both sides off in the middle of this 60 mile per hour busy road. Well, no, because the screwdriver was there as well.
No, Jude, listen, they screwed the number plates off, drove away. You can still have your screwdriver and the number plates in the car and just chucked them out at window.
But that's such a weird place, because that's like in the middle of the road. Like, anybody could come up to that. Anybody could pick that up and be like, this is,
But they don't want it anywhere near the house or where they're going to live or anything like that.
You'd think they'd burn it, though, wouldn't you? You'd think that they'd... It just seems weird.
This is another thing.
There.
You can't apply too much logic to criminals. They already want to steal a car.
That's
so
fair.
They're already fucking weird and dumb anyway. So,
That's fair.
They don't do things smartly. If they were smart, they wouldn't be doing crimes so much. They'd be doing like more smart crimes like stock fixing and things like that.
Yeah, and fraud. Come on, guys. The real crimes are invisible, for fuck's sake.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Have you ever just come across something where you've just gone, what the how the fuck has this got like this? Any that you can maybe think of?
I tend to kind of think that more about events and things that happen, like things that I just never thought I would see in my lifetime, like when the Spider-Man movie happened, No Way Home, and I was like, oh my god, this is like a fantasy thing. This doesn't happen in real life, This is like something I would dream up. And it happened. Or, like when we were watching the Creator Clash, recently, follow us on YouTube if you want to see our reactions to that. They've got lots of views. People like them. I've had comments. When we were watching that, Airsoft Fatty singing the national anthem. After he did that,
I forgot about that.
I posted our reaction to that as well. We were literally sat there like, how has this happened? How has this happened? The Save the Squirrels guy and Airsoft Fatty on a boxing event. Oh my god!
Start over like 3 times.
Oh god, it was awful. He didn't even. When I was listening to it back, he didn't even get it right the last time. The crowd just sung it for him. Holy shit. That was crazy. But I think that with that sort of thing, I think, oh my god, another example. One of my favourite bands, well, two of my favourite bands are McFly and Busted. And at one point, they came together for a year or two as a supergroup called McBusted. So they were all in one big band. So that already for me is like, holy shit, this is like something childhood me would have had a wet dream over. That makes me sound like I fancy the guys. That's not what it's about.
You fancy the guys. You absolutely fancy the guys.
Would I fuck any of Busted or McFly?
You would fuck all of McBusted at once.
No. There's... How many of McBusted would I fuck? Let's see. Let me count them. 1, 2, 3... I think 3.
3 of them. Okay.
That's 3 out of 6, so half, apparently. No, I don't know.
There you go, guys. There you go, Jasmine. Don't worry.
Not.
Don't worry. You'd only fuck half of them.
I'm actually, now that I'm narrowing it down, it's probably going to end up being 1. And that's only because he's got long hair. It's a bit more feminine.
Well, that's not too bad.
So now people know which one. God. Anyway, so that happening, that's another unreal thing. But not only that, when I went to see them, one of my friends at the time had got a couple tickets and said, "Oh, do you want to come with me? Because I know how much of a fan you are." So I went with her, and the tickets we'd got were like, they were decent, but. Again, already, I'm like, oh my god! But I bought one of these canisters that it were like a mixed thing of merch. So you paid about £25, and you got like a poster, like a wristband, and a few guitar picks, Just a little thing, and the tin. So I thought that's pretty decent for a few pieces of merch. For like, it's not don't cost much, and also you had a chance to win tickets to like this VIP seating area in it, and I won them. In this thing, I was like, "Oh my god!" So the area was in the middle of the stage, so you got to be there with them. So that was really cool. But not only that, the next year, Busted fully reformed again, and the exact same thing happened. I bought a tin, and I won we were literally saying as I was opening the tin, with the exact same person I went to the last concert with as well. And we were a lot further back this time. I was thinking, oh, can you imagine if I won these tickets again? Joking, being, he's like, oh, I'm just happy to be here. And I looked at him like, my god, this has happened again. Holy shit. And I swear to God, that's why I'm so unlucky all the time, because all my luck was used up on that. It was all used up on that moment. So that's the type of stuff that I just can't believe has led to that. Other ones is like, if you look at certain stuff on Reddit, like public freakouts, or like, I don't know, like some of these like wacky fights, or like people fighting things. There's Reddits all called these, where just it's usually in the middle of a McDonald's in Florida, and
that's the breeding spot.
Some crazy person's like riding a ride on lawnmower while completely painted purple through this place, shooting people or something. And it's like, what has led up to this? Having said that, with how much I'm on the edge of snapping, that could very well be me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Now that I've changed... Oh, fuck. Wait a sec. My microphone should sound better now. I left it on stereo from when we recorded the last podcast when we were in the same place. It shouldn't sound bad. So... I actually had a bit of a question for you. It's not the same sort of thing. It's not the same, like, it's as in the same topic, but it's the same kind of vibe of question. You know old people. I love starting.
Oh God, I live with two of them. Fucking hell. I don't even know how they even got in. I had the door shut and the window shut and everything, and I just woke up one day, there were two of them sat in the front. I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, when they were younger, do you think that they expected to be like they are now? So, when they were like young adults, like in their early 20s, maybe 18 or something like that, when your life's like properly beginning, when you're actually getting your responsibilities, but you're still young, do you think they expected to act like and be like they are now? Or even maybe when they were a teenager?
I think it depends on the person. I think Grandad's essentially always been the same person, always from whatever I've heard of him when he was younger. But Nan sounds like she was a completely different person. She used to work at like a gun factory, like a gunsmith's. So she used to like
was this during the war?
Guns. No, she wasn't alive during the war.
Oh, she's not that old then.
No, she's like 60-something. She just like made them in a gunsmith's. And she used to smoke. My nan used to smoke. So it's people.
That's the same. Did your granddad used to smoke?
Granddad used to smoke cigars, but it was a much more occasional thing. Like it's like, oh man, it's my son's 15th birthday. I think I'll have a cigar. Instead of like,
so
it's Tuesday and I can't deal
now.
with this shit.
That's very interesting, because my grandma used to smoke when she was younger as well. My granddad still smokes, and obviously the culture and what they knew about it was a lot different back then. So I don't blame them as much for doing that. But it's very interesting that both our grandmas used to smoke and have quit.
Yeah, but also like. It's strange as well, because my granddad, the second like he actually found out about like all of the negative effects of smoking, he like immediately stopped, which is very strange for an older person to be presented with scientific evidence and we're going, my God, we'll take immediate action to rectify this.
Normally they're like, gosh darn young scientists always telling me I can't do shit.
But tell me I can't smoke my goddamn lard steak.
Were they quite accepting of like COVID science as well, though?
Yeah, really. They really
it must be in their personalities then. Yeah. And similar with my grandparents, I think. My granddad has tried multiple times to stop smoking. It's just that he's got such a hold over him at this point. He just can't. Yeah. He's too old to have the will to do it.
Yeah.
So I get
I
it
also
a bit,
feel like when you've done it for that long and you're at that age, would it honestly really make that much of a difference if you stopped? Like, surely the damage has already been wrought at that point.
I don't understand this attitude. You do realise that you could just do more damage. He's still got lungs. He could smoke until his lungs disintegrate. Like, that would be more damage. That would be worse.
Maybe it should.
It's like my mum was saying earlier about COVID. She said, if you've had COVID and not realised for the first 3 days of it, and you've been living with someone who's not got it, surely the damage has been done if you're going to infect them. I'm like, no, because if they're not infected, you've got many more days' chance to infect them. Fucking people. The damage is already done. That saying is used way more than it actually applies. But I back on.
So if I bum a kid, and I don't even know where I was going with that. I don't want to just leave it.
No, let's roll with it. If you bummed a kid and did emotional trauma to that kid, awful, terrible, very bad, very bad. But then if you bummed them again, that's more trauma. That's worse. Do you know what I'm saying?
You know what they say though? Fool me once.
It's worse. It's absolutely abhorrent and horrific and one of the worst things to ever happen just one time. But it is worse the more it happens. Of course it is. Good Lord. Honestly, this is another thing. I just get exasperated by people. Back onto whether old people like being old. No, that's not what I meant. No one likes being old.
Back onto the elderly. Should we have them?
I'm going to chance it, Judd. Do you reckon we can get a brief wisdom from either your nan or your granddad based on this topic? Do you reckon they will come and give us a quick... their thoughts on that topic.
What is it you want? What is it you're
when they were younger, sort of teenager to early 20s, did they expect to be the person they are nowadays? Because I think that's so fascinating.
I'll ask them for the next one. I'll do that for you. I'll do it. If you'll have to remind me though, because I'm quite. Oh, all right. I'll put a thing.
Well, speaking of the next one, it might tie in pretty well because this should be the last podcast I do in this room. I should have podcasts set up and ready to go next time we record it. And things all being well. I mean, my grandma's got COVID at the minute, but things all being well. Next podcast recording, I'm hoping that she might do a little guest spot. Because that could be quite fun to chat to her about olden days, show her some internet stuff and get her thoughts on it. She likes that sort of thing. She might be willing to do that. Yeah. I think that could be pretty fun. And it could be a good way to tie, what your grandparents think about that topic in to that. But kind of on that as well, what do we think we will be like when we're old? And when I say old, I think... we're talking at least 65, maybe 70 plus. Because, I mean, like, us specifically, but also our generation. What's your thoughts on that?
I think I'll be a lot like my granddad, but a lot more sort of laid back, I think. I'll definitely be
Is your granddad not laid back?
He's about some things. He's still definitely a caveman with a lot of stuff. I don't think he's as accepting or tolerant as my nan.
Right, we'll not say what about. Yeah, don't want to defame him.
He needs to be busy, like, all the time. I don't think I'd need that as much. I do think I'd still need like the odd thing to keep me keep me going, like, but it'd probably just be something like just painting models or something just as small as that. But I could be an old man on a rocking chair in like the front garden a lot more than my granddad can, I think.
Yeah.
That's
do you think you will be as well?
Yeah, I think I will be. I think I'll be.
Do you think that you're going to end up with that much money? Do you think you're going to end up with being on a similar wage to like Dad, have a decent pension or anything like that? How do you picture that going?
There's two ways that can go. Well, no, there's kind of three. So
I mean, there's actually lots of ways that you could never perceive that it could
I'd say
go,
there's probably four different paths in life. I could just keep doing what I'm doing, learn a trade, and I'd as during my sort of like midlife, I'd be well off, but then I'd need to, probably about in my 40s or 50s, I'd need to think about leaving the trade, and doing something that'd have like
sales or based on it or something like that.
Yeah, but also my body would probably just be fucked at that age, because doing that kind of work so often at 40
isn't now.
Yeah, well, yeah, but yeah. So I might even go into managing at some point. I think I'll end up, just if I stick with this, I think I'll just end up having like a good amount of money, not loads. I don't think I'll have as much as Dad or anything, but I think
I think I'll just end up with the same as my mum, which is like nothing very good. You know, it's not like she's like maybe just on the boundary of slightly slipping into middle class, but part of that's because she's come from an era where setting your life up in that era, like in the kind of 90s and early 2000s, was so much easier. So she's reaping the rewards of that. So I think I'll be similar, but that I think by the time I'm old, but not by the time I'm like 50, similar to her age. By the time I'm old,
yeah.
So there's some of that, but I think I'm going to be such a bitter old man. I'm just going to be sat in my house being pissed off at everyone, being like, I told you all that this was going to happen because of your fucking dumb brains, and now you fucked it for everyone, haven't you? Everyone will be complaining, saying, why didn't we do this? We should be doing this now. And I'll be sat there being like, I fucking told you all, and I fucking hate you all, and I'm happy the world's burning. That's going to be me. I'm just going to be bitter about everything. Or I might have gotten to the point where I'm well off enough to go, fuck you all, and just disappear. Just like, I can imagine me and my partner just disappearing off into the middle of nowhere in Sweden, and just like having a lot of like crops, but like having plenty of money off say maybe like a bunch of houses that we own but someone else manages for them, something like that. I could see us doing that if things go well. If things go kind of more reasonably. No, I ain't starting a cult. I don't want people, Judd. This is my whole point. I don't want a cult where people could come and piss me off. This is the whole thing. I'd just like hide somewhere and just like, watch movies and play games, skate about.
We both have a fantasy of being left alone somewhere that requires some sort of farm work or agriculture work. We both have essentially
it's not that I want to do farm or agriculture work. I don't want to do it. It's just that that's another way to not have to interact with people. I don't have to be near a store or anything like that as much.
I like the idea of owning like a little garden.
Oh, Judge, you should see the garden on this new house that we're moving into. It's nice. It's overgrown, but there's a lot of like flowers and plenty of garden space and stuff like that. So it's going to be nice. It's not big. It's not a big house, but it's big enough. He'll be all right. I've got to build a box to have my setup in, because there's not really quite enough rooms to have my own like room for an office or anything.
Okay.
So I've got to build some soundproof walls and like make a little box in the corner of the bigger bedroom.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to make a soundproof box in the corner of the bigger bedroom, and then the rest of the bigger bedroom is going to be like wardrobes and spare room, which is I find quite funny. Can you imagine us just sat in a soundproof box recording a podcast?
I'd probably be better for the world if we were just like trapped in a soundproof box and they were just like, right, there's a microphone there, boy, give it all you got, and the microphone's just fucking off.
That's how I've tried to lead your life for you. I've tried to steer in that direction. I've placed like microphones and cameras in front of you and said, right, Judd, say shit. Come on, entertain people. Use your only gift to the world. I reckon when you're old,
and then I like lean into the mic and I go, I saw a bug the other day.
I think when you're old, you might want to go into an old folks' home with all the other old people. Like, with all your, like, mates, your old mates, that are all, like, weird and crotchety, and, like, play, like, what's that one that the old people typically play in the movies? Play bridge?
Bingo? Bridge?
I think it's bridge. I don't know, one of these.
They like the dominoes, they like a good bit of bingo. I worked in an old folks' home, for my work experience.
And one of your friends currently works in a, not old folks' home, but close enough.
In a disabled fellow. Well, he does work with old people as well.
Yeah.
He works with like people who mentally just anyone who can't mentally sort of support themselves on their own and need assisted living. So that it falls under like old folks and people with mental disorders. So
could you see yourself doing that? Because I think the thing that people talk about when it comes to this sort of thing is we're so different in what types of clothes we've always worn, and we've grown up in a digital age. I think our generation are the first people to be the first like generation to be like mostly digital in their hobbies and things like that.
Yeah.
But only just mostly. So do you think we'll be sat in old folks' homes, like watching YouTube or playing Hearthstone, maybe playing video games, but kind of less intense ones? Like because nowadays I picture stuff like first-person shooters, stuff like League of Legends, RTS games, MOBAs, all of these sorts of things as like sports. Those are kind of like the sports of the video games world, and stuff like Civilization. And maybe like XCOM, strategy games, or maybe like Minecraft even. The base game of it could be more like, like when old people do the bowls.
Yeah.
It could be a bit like that. So, I don't know, what do you think when it comes to that? What do you think people will be doing as hobbies and stuff like that?
I know where you're coming from. I like the imagery of of like this old person being in an old folks' home and them sort of being like, oh, I just won a game of League of Legends, and then like the orderly's like, oh yeah, that's real nice, Gramps, and then like the orderly goes back home and plays some games, and he's like shooting up some like digital code into his arm, and he's like being shot into the past, and he's like having a real recreation of like World War II or some shit.
Yeah, because I didn't even think that technology had been moving on. I genuinely think this is another thing about technology, though. People kind of look at how fast the digital age has kind of come around after, the industrial age, and assume that technology moves at an exponential rate. I call bullshit on that. I think technology's already been heavily slowing down in what it can do since it started getting better and better when we were even younger. I think we're plateauing a bit. Unless something comes around that's such a game-changing invention that we can't even comprehend it.
Yeah.
And to be fair, that is the thing that's happened every single time. Like when the microchip was invented, when computers were first invented, they changed everything. When fossil fuels were first able to be used, they changed everything. And no one saw either of them coming. Like, they couldn't have even comprehended it. But I don't know. I just feel like it's different this time because we've done so much that, like, surely, just by the laws of physics, there can't be something that's gonna, propel us forward too much. Like, there might be stuff that we figure out that makes VR games a lot more immersive, for example. And that might be what most people are playing who are younger when we're old, but we can't wrap our brains around it or something. Maybe that'll happen, but I don't know. I don't know about that. What do you know? Tell me things, Judd.
I think it's going to be data that you shoot up into your arm, and then you'll be like, and then you get like transported into like the game world, the game first.
Oh God, the gameverse.
That's what I'm. In fact, I'm making it.
King.
Yeah. the king in the metaverse, Mark
Holy
Zuckerberg.
Shit, I'm so tired.
He's literally going to be like this giant floating head that sort of lords over everybody. Like, I am the god of this world.
I wonder if I'll sleep like all the time. Because nowadays, I'm 25, right? I'm not the fattest guy. I'm pretty fucking fat. But I'm not like the least out of shape guy you've ever seen. And I'm just so tired all the time. I'm just so fucking tired. Like, constantly. What's that going to be like when I'm old? Like, am I going to just die of exhaustion at like 30? Because at this rate, surely that could happen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Don't want to fucking, say it's not on the table or nothing, because that could happen.
I feel like I genuinely think that the world very much could end before we get to that age, though. Whether it's wars or a virus or anything. I probably a virus, having seen, what viruses actually can do to a shitty world that doesn't want to prepare for it, even though we could have prepared for it quite easily. We're still not preparing for, any more viruses that come out. We've not learned his lesson from the pandemic. So I think we'll probably get wiped out, maybe, no?
I hope it's aliens. I just think that'd be like, if it's going to be anything, like, at least make it be like, well, look, aliens. It's like, that'd fucking, that'd just shake us foundations a bit, wouldn't it? That'd be a wild one.
Do you think it'd be cool to be enslaved by aliens, but in like a nice-ish way? Does that make sense?
Are you talking about like the Filtramite outlook, where it's like, we are here to help you, but you are definitely beneath us. Like,
a bit like that.
I think we could do with that, actually. Just like a very firm hand, like, coming like descending down from like the galactic edge or something, and like the Borkians of the Slobnot galaxy have shown up, and they're like, look, listen, we're just gonna be in charge.
That's what I want. I want to do that. Yeah. I want to just sort this is a thing. From my perspective, I'm a very superior human, and 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 I would love to just be able to, at a wave of a wand, just sort shit out, because I know like what would be better, at least better than what we've got for sure. But I also don't want to have to do that. Sounds like such a pain in the ass, Sounds like such a not enjoyable thing to do. I want to just be able to live my life and not have to put up with everyone's bullshit and like handle it and deal with it and make it better. It's from my perspective, it should be so simple to already be fine. But no, that's not how it works. So if an alien race came and sorted that all out for me, I'd appreciate that quite a bit.
If an alien specifically came to me personally and was like, look, we're going from door to door. They're there with like the 7 eyes and like the 19 arms. Like, look, sir, we're going door to door, and we're just gonna do like a survey and just like, if we were to take over, and there's no real malicious intent, apart from we do believe that we are superior to you. It's just we're not gonna really implement that on anything. Would you mind if we were in charge and we will actually get stuff sorted out? I'd be like, yeah, you sound like every politician anyway. Like, at least I know you're actually going to get it sorted out.
Yeah,
like,
at least you've got some sort of alien super intelligence that you can utilize here.
It's also like, if they do sort it out, then like clearly they're onto something. Clearly they are better than us. So yeah, it's like whatever. Like, I don't care.
I think that's why a lot of people vote almost joke character. I think that's how Trump got presidency. I think a lot of people are like, look, every politician we've had so far has not been particularly good. Let's just try the fucking guy who sounds like a wacko. He might be onto something. He wasn't onto something. But never mind. At least they tried.
Well, we tried. We did give it a good try, didn't we?
Did you vote in your local election recently, Judd?
I did not. I did not.
Yeah, neither did I. I just don't fucking care.
I didn't know it was happening, to be honest. Like, I'd obviously care more about a local election between little, just council members over the actual general election. It was a local one over little council members. No, I know. I'm saying that I do usually care more. It's just the reason I didn't do it was because I didn't even fucking know it was happening. So
I saw a bit on the candidates because to be honest, we would have been voting on different people anyway because it's very local areas. It's like the town we live in. It's fairly big and it has little representatives for little spots of it. So Judd would be voting for different people to me. I looked at the people who were in my area. They all sounded like dickheads, really. So I don't care. Just everyone else can decide. It's not going to matter, really. Plus, I'm moving in, 3 days as of recording this. So by the time they got into power and did anything, it wouldn't be the same representative for me anyway. So,
that was another thing I was thinking about. It's like, well, I've not had time to, look at any of these candidates, so I can't, make an informed decision or anything.
And do you know what? Something that I want to mention, that's okay. Lots of people, when elections and stuff happens, are like, you have to vote. It's your duty to vote. It's really important to vote. Look, I understand the importance of it. That's fine. And yes, it is your responsibility to analyse every party and candidate as best you can. But if you've not analysed them very well and you just be like, I think they might be all right, don't do it. Don't bother.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're on about, then don't stop it. Too many people try and, do shit without thinking, as we've been saying for a long time and all through this podcast. So, we could do with a little less of it in this world. And you know what? That's a perfect message to end upon. Do your research, do it thoroughly, make as much of an informed decision as you can, think before you do anything, and think well and hard, folks. Utilise... what am I saying here?
Those big old
utilize that shitty brain you've got in your head. It might be crap, but at least use it. Come on.
Yeah.
You make a non-overly emotional analysis and decision on something. Use your emotions as a little guide, a little thing to tell you, a little guide, a little advisor, but don't let them control you.
Almost like
and act appropriately.
Almost like a conscience of some sort.
Exactly. So, and the final proper message of that is I'm always right, so listen to me. Anyway, that's the end of the podcast. There's some actual good, life analysis and messages and thought throughout that, amidst the, pants shitting and complaints about the universe and everything.
You know how... You're always looking up your meaning of lives and you're trying to find the meaning of the universe. After the bombs fall and everything becomes Mad Maxy, do you think somehow, somewhere, some sort of techno pillager will be sort of scrying through the archives of lost medium, and they'll somehow ours has managed to be preserved, and they'll listen to it, and they'll start some sort of Mad Max sort of religion around it.
I certainly hope so, Judd. That is my main goal in life, to leave a lot of messages like that for some wacky scavenger to form a cult.
The things that they'll get, though, is things like when we're jokingly saying strangle your dog, so they're going to be carving on the stone tablet saying...
a big problem in that cult.
Dogs are the enemy of the soul!
Oh god, I know it sounds a bit arrogant, but sometimes I do like to think that my philosophy and outlook on life and how I think people should think in themselves and treat people and all that sort of thing is a bit before its time. I do kind of hope that society will steer towards that at some point, but not that it matters because it's too late now. Anyway, do your best, folks. And, like, subscribe, if you can do that.
I like that.
I didn't say who to. Do it to someone. It'd be nice if it was us, but you could do it to anyone if you want.
Yeah.
Even Alexa's going off right. I'm stopping this shit.